Hey everybody, welcome back to Breakfast with Bobby. We are here again on a Monday morning, and we don't really even know what we're going to talk about, but here we are. I'm Christina. This is my friend Bobby, and we always have a lot to talk about, so it's all good. We are bringing on guests. We're going to start bringing on guests.
We
Yeah,
are. I think next week,
yeah. Well, we're going to record next week.
um, the 2 weeks from now, uh, I think you guys will be really surprised at our guests and the quality of the content. Some is funny, some is serious, some is educational. But we've been honored to receive texts, calls, whatever information that they wanted to be on our show. So as blown
Yes.
away as I am about that, I'm really thrilled. The first guest is actually a friend of mine who has been my friend he was my person, back in the day kind of thing. So it's one of those people that if something happened, he's the guy that's going to pick up the phone if something's wrong
Right.
or I need something. And the same for him. He's got quite a background. He's funny, very smart. Of course, we always invite smart people here because we
Right.
are that.
Yeah.
Um, and the next one after that is going to be a really big surprise. So we'll just keep that hidden for right now.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a good friend of mine. The one after that is a good friend of mine. In fact,
Mhm.
I officiated her wedding.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very
So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited that we are bringing on guests. Are you having an earthquake over there?
Is my phone, am I jiggling around? I'm
You're
sorry.
jiggling around.
I'll sit still.
I'm sorry. The camera just keeps moving. It was distracting me. Um, it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, I was excited when we threw that poll out on the Facebook group page and people were responding. So we've got some fun stuff coming up.
It's always good to get an opinion from other people of what they want to hear, what they want to
Right,
learn.
right.
Uh, Entertainment value is always important.
Exactly. I mean, we could sit here and talk about, recipes and gardening, but if people aren't interested in recipes and gardening, then, you know. Speaking of gardening, I have a story to share. Okay, so, we went on vacation recently. My husband and I went on vacation. We were gone for almost 2 weeks. And prior to that, actually, I think most people know my son passed away last year. And I was given a lily, a potted lily, um, by someone as a gift. And it had sat in my front porch in a pot because I rent, so I'm not going to, plant it in the ground because I don't want to do that. But I'd brought the pot in, just the pot, and set it in the laundry sink downstairs and just left it. I figuring, it'll winter over the winter. We came back from vacation, it was growing.
Yeah.
I did not know that was going to happen. So I was pretty excited about it. So I brought it upstairs and now it's sitting on in the middle of the dining room table growing.
So did you think when you brought it in the house, did you think it was dead? And
No, I just didn't think it was going to regrow this soon.
I see.
Yeah.
It is perpetuated by temperature.
Hmm.
They do go to sleep for a period of time. And when the temperature reaches a certain point, they wake up. So
I just
what,
didn't, because it was in the basement and it was dark and it's cooler
yeah.
in the basement. I didn't
Mhm.
think it would wake up that soon.
Yeah.
So
I
I was
I too have
surprised.
been surprised by things like that, not necessarily bulbs, but I have some blue rows of Sharons that are gorgeous, and I had them in the basement also by the window. Um, and they were just twigs kind of thing. And all
Mhm.
of a sudden, one day I went down and there were leaves on them. So it is, you never know what their schedule is.
Right.
Uh, but, now that it's getting lighter outside and it's warmer, the temperature must have got to the point where they just said, "Hey, I'm coming."
Yeah. Here we come.
So, yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I was surprised by that and um happy about it because
Yeah.
it's a memorial plant. So
Mhm.
it was special.
And
So
those types of lilies that you have babies.
Mhm.
So in case you take them out of the pot and put them in the ground somewhere or in a different pot, they will have smaller, and some of them will be quite small, little babies on them.
Good
So
to
they
know.
propagate.
Good to know. I did not know that.
So
Yeah,
you're
because
going to
I'm
have
not
a
a
whole
gardener.
family. Yes.
I'm not home enough to garden.
Mm,
Like
that's all right.
I had a garden one year in Germantown. Richfield, I guess, when we first moved out there, and I'd never grown a garden before. It's actually the only one I've ever grown, and it went bonkers. But there were so many weeds because I wasn't home to take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm just I'm on the road too much. I'm just not home to take care of it.
Yeah.
So
Every gardener's nightmare is the weeds.
yeah. Well, when you're gone for 5 or 6 days and you come back and your whole garden is just taken over by plants you don't recognize, it's a bit disheartening.
Yes. Do I eat that or not?
I don't know, is that edible? So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I am not a gardener. I know a lot of people are really into gardening and having their hands in the dirt, and I'm like, yeah, thanks. You grow it, I'll eat it when I get back.
I think it's one of those things that comes as you age, and especially for women. Women tend to get a little bit more grounded, hungry for grounding, nurturing kind of thing. And when they
Mhm.
go outside and figure out that they can dig in the dirt and how pleasant that is. And you can put a bunch of gloves on now, you don't, or kneel pads and all kinds of stuff. You don't have to really get dirty. But it's such a pleasant thing. And as we get older, things change as we get older. Crazy things change. Things
Oh,
that,
yeah. I mean, I'm mid-50s now, and I'd still rather drive somewhere than garden. So I
oh,
think it's I think it's a personality thing too. Not everybody is cut out for the same thing.
well, it's true, right?
Yeah,
That everybody thinks that, part of what you do is woo-woo, and only to figure out that it's energy is everywhere.
right.
So we all have our strong suits and interests, and you can drive to go see somebody else's beautiful gardens.
That's
That's the
right. And
nice
I
thing.
do.
And never be bored with what you find.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's funny, but the whole energy thing, I mean, that's basic sixth grade science, right? What do we know about energy? It can't be created or destroyed, but it can be transformed.
Well, were
Boom.
were we really
There you
paying
go.
attention when we were in sixth grade?
I was.
Were you?
That fascinated me. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that whole energy thing I think has always fascinated me. I think because I as even as a kid, I could see energy where other people couldn't see
Ah,
it.
yeah.
And I'm not talking about just ghosts or entities. I'm talking about like actual energy. Like I can see energy move. If I focus on it, I can see energy molecules move.
Hmm.
So
Unfortunate.
yeah, and so for me, it always kind of fascinated me because mostly because other people are like, "What are you talking about? You can't
Right.
see energy move."
Yes.
I
Uh,
can see energy move. Maybe you can't. You know.
I was lucky. I don't know that I even had a science class when I was in sixth grade. I went to a very small Catholic school, and
Okay.
back in the day, where the nuns were the teachers, and um, we did have some really good English classes. We
Mhm.
learned how to do all kinds of stuff in English, but for the most part, yeah, not a lot of science. And so I can imagine some, and especially kids, if you don't hold their interest right away, but you were fortunate that you could see stuff and
Right.
investigate that.
Yeah. I remember going on field trips. Like we went to a bee farm when I was in
Oh,
school.
cool.
Yeah. And I'm asking all kinds of questions. And at the end, the gentleman who owned the farm was asking, okay, are there any more questions? The entire class turned and looked at me because I was always asking questions. I still always ask questions.
Are you still interested in bees?
Not so much.
Okay. Do you like honey?
I do. I love honey. Yeah. Yeah.
I do a lot of online training, a lot of classes, and in the majority of them I do a lot of master classes, a lot of free stuff.
Hmm.
Just last week, there was a ban on there that was doing something about beekeeping and how that is really not as expensive as people think. And you don't
Okay.
necessarily have to buy a hive, which I was quite intrigued by.
Right.
Uh, and there's ways. So anyway, we've gotten off on a tangent about beekeeping, but it's a pretty cool thing. And they said that if
Yeah.
you see a bee in your house, near your garden or outside somewhere, you should be able to propagate that. There are, the queens and the worker bees go out and look for other hives. So there's these strange rogue, uh, bees out there that are looking for a place to be. And so if you give them a place to be, they will, was the message of all of that. So if you
Okay.
a honeybee in your yard somewhere, within 3 miles, there's a hive somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I lived in Richfield, there were hives on the property.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
My
pretty cool.
landlord there was a beekeeper.
Yeah, it's one of the things I've not done. I thought about it, given that I was allergic to bees when I was younger. I did do some allergy resistance stuff with antigens and whatnot. I don't think I'm as allergic as I was before. But that's
Hmm.
probably not a good thing to get into if you're allergic to them. No,
Probably not.
probably not. No.
No.
And it hurts. It hurts like crazy. It hurts like a hot
Yeah.
knife.
And EpiPens are expensive.
Yeah, I have one. Just in case, you never know.
Just in case, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be outside and there's a
Hmm.
possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have we have all kinds of treasures here that I don't know. Every year I find something different. And one year I found a walking stick. I've never seen it after that, but we have just
that's
crazy
cool.
things. Here.
I found
You
one of
don't know.
those. There was one of those on my car when I went out to the Lizard Mound County Park.
Yes,
There was a
sure.
walking stick on my car.
Very
I
cool.
hadn't seen one since I was a kid.
They're kind of mean, right?
Are
They
they?
kill lots of stuff. Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I just
They
looked
look
at it.
cool though. Well,
I didn't try to move it, didn't try to touch it. I
yeah.
just looked at it.
I, on the other hand, learn by visualization and touching, and I'm very tactile. And so, I get yelled at. When we first moved here with 5 acres and all kinds of stuff, I was touching and plucking and all that kind of stuff. And I would come in the house with a rash and not know where I got it. And there was one day I had poison ivy, and, I did know where I got that, but unfortunately I had gloves on and I scratched my leg and didn't know that the oil was on the glove. And that's how
Right,
it
right.
So a lot of people don't know that they can get that from their dogs or cats or whatever's outside and
Or the
mess up.
neighbor kids, like I did when I was a kid.
Great. Yay.
Yeah.
I never had it as a kid. I didn't have any of that, but
I was completely covered. My whole body was one big hive
oh
of poison
God.
ivy. Yeah. My mom had me in baking soda baths, like as much submerged as she could get me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Trust me, there are some places you do not want something like poison ivy.
Right. It's obnoxious. And the pattern that I had on my legs was my fingers because I was scratching my leg.
Okay.
And there I was the next day I was in my boss's office, the chief of rheumatology, and he was looking at me like he finally said to me, "What is wrong with you? Why are you moving around like that?" And I said, "I think I have poison ivy." And he grabbed his pad and he wrote me a prescription. "Get out of here. Go do something. Jeez, sit still. Can't even understand what you're saying."
I think that's kind of normal for me. I don't sit still well and I
I don't
bounce
either.
around. But yeah, we have
I,
this is probably one of the weirdest conversations we've had in a while.
yeah, I was going to talk about, aging and what happens to you as you age. Not that I'm a doctor or an expert on it, but I'm older and I'm just
Hmm.
shocked sometimes that as you're getting a little older, 30, 40, whatever, even 50s, you're thinking, yeah, those poor people, their hair's falling out and their digestive system's going to hell. And, a lot of them have diabetes. And here I am, woke up one day and things just are not the same. Things
Yeah.
sag and droop and drop and you go through
I'm
night.
there. I'm 10 years younger than you and I'm there. Yeah.
Well, exercise, I was just watching something on TV. Exercise is a big deal, I mean, we all know that. But there is a documented research published, sorry, I'm being weird today, published study on exercise and depression.
Yes.
It's documented information that not only does it help your psyche, but it really helps people with depression. So for
Right.
whatever that,
Unfortunately, when people are depressed, it's hard to get up and move.
yes, they don't want to move.
Right. And it is really, I think that, I mean, we're talking about aging, but this is moving right into depression, which a lot of people experience as they age,
Yeah,
is depression because your body doesn't move like it used to, because things are harder to do, because as people get older, they sometimes experience depression. But depression is not being sad necessarily, it's being nothing.
hopeless. Yeah.
Even hopeless is something.
Mm,
Clinical depression is just a void. It's
mm,
just nothing. You
hmm.
don't feel much, you don't think much, you don't move much. It's just kind of a nothingness. And that nothingness can be really hard to live with long term.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I also learned that as much as you look forward to retirement, there is quite an adjustment to that.
Oh, yeah.
And people think that it's you get to do whatever you want to do. And for the most part, I mean, if you have money, you can do that.
Yeah.
But just the adjustment alone, because your self-worth and your identity, some of it was linked to your job and your career. And then you
Right.
come home, you don't, and for the first couple of months, several months or so, it's okay. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're like, what am I going to do today? What should I be doing? And yeah, well, I really don't want to clean the closet, but I could. But, so the
Yeah.
psyche really goes through a lot of adjustments when you retire.
Hmm.
And and you're slowing down, you don't have the same kind of money, your health is drifting off in a direction that you didn't anticipate. Your
Yeah.
hair is falling out, now you have to be on medication and just stuff. So,
Yeah. It's interesting because as I was taking a shower this morning, I'm pulling out hair and going, why am I losing all this hair all of a sudden?
yeah.
And my brain went right to, well, because it's 30 degrees warmer than it normally is this time of year, you're shedding. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'll accept that one. I knew it wasn't true, but I'll accept that one.
Well, if that made you feel better, okay.
Yeah, right. I
I
mean, I obviously still have plenty of hair, but
Sure, I know. I
yeah,
told my doctor one time that I was losing hair, and she said, "Well, you go through a cycle." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is a different cycle. This is a little different." But and again, your hormones are different than they were when you were 30, and
right.
things just don't look and grow and see and feel the way that they did. And if you think about talk to some men, they have hair in places they've never had hair, in their ears and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. So it's an interesting part of your life that is both positive and negative,
Hmm.
and adapting to all of that is something, it's a daily task. And I have also found myself accounting for not only what I've done today or didn't do, but what should I be doing? And, I have to make a list. I need to take my vitamins. I need to go exercise. And because you get busy and things are distracting and you have this, and I got to run to the grocery store and then you forget. So if I physically have to say to myself, I need to take my vitamins today, don't forget to do that, and then you take medication at night before you go to bed and whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I was talking to my previous neighbor. This was a few years ago. I stopped and visited them on my way back from a trip somewhere, and I was talking to her, and her daughter's the same age I am. We grew up together, right? So as I'm talking, I'm like, aging is weird. She goes, and it just keeps getting weirder.
great.
I'm like,
Just never
oh, good,
stops.
good to know. Good to know.
Nobody gets out alive, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm a little younger than you, and I've already noticed things like it's harder to lose weight. It's harder to
Yes,
stay in shape, even
yes,
with exercising. And I'm big into walking. I like walking. I don't
yeah.
walk as much as I would like to walk,
Hmm.
because it's time consuming, but I enjoy walking and I enjoy hiking. And um, Yeah, it is. It used to be okay. I'll walk on my lunch hour and lose 10 pounds in a week. Well, that does not happen anymore.
Mm.
You know, it is harder. Everything shifts, and the hormones are different, and depending on, when, and this applies to both men and women, and a lot of men are in denial about it, but there is a change of life that comes as you reach 60-ish, and it does. It changes. Your metabolism changes. Everything changes. And some things become more difficult and other things actually become easier. Like there's like the understanding life cycles, or understanding, more of what life is about comes more easily, I think, as we age. And focusing more on that, our brains change. Where when we're younger, gray matter is absorbing information, basically absorbing
Mhm.
and organizing information, and we remember all that. And as we age, there's something called white matter, which isn't so much about information, it's more about processing emotion. It's more about being able to understand nuances that younger people don't understand. And
Mhm.
so, if we could just get off this whole thing about memorizing and math is what makes you smart, and get into emotional intelligence, because that's really what
Yeah.
we develop as we age, is emotional intelligence.
Right. Right.
And so
Critical
appreciating
thinking.
that.
Yeah. If you can't think critically and solve problems, then you're in a difficult place.
Well, and I don't think we lose the ability to think critically. I think it just changes. It shifts.
Well, some people have it and some don't.
Yeah. Well, some people never had it.
It's true.
You don't automatically get it because you
That's
reached a
true.
certain age
Right.
if you didn't already have it. you
Well, I
know.
don't know. Yeah. Do you remember turning 18? When I turned 18, I thought, today is the day. Today, I got everything today. It's kind of like you go to the mailbox and you pull the mail out, and this is it. I'm 18 and I got everything I need right here.
I don't remember doing that.
Well,
No. It's kind of weird. I quit drinking at 17. In the state of Wisconsin, the drinking age was 18. My
mm,
birthday is September 5th. September 1st that year, the drinking age switched from 18 to 19, the legal drinking age.
mm,
And I'm like, huh, isn't that interesting? Well, two
yeah,
years later, same dates, it switched from 19, or the next year, it switched from 19 to 21.
you've been chasing it forever.
I mean, 30 some odd
Years.
years into recovery, I have absolutely no desire to drink.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of funny. Like, that's what I remember about turning 18. Because I was already out living on my own. It's
Mm.
not like that was a big milestone to come. I'd already done that. I was already in my own apartment. So, um, after that, it was just, I don't know, adult life. I decided, I took some time off of school after high school, decided to go back to college when I was 19.
Mm.
So, it was just one of those, but I graduated at 17. It was just different. I don't remember turning 18 and thinking I had the golden ticket.
Well, you can vote. You have all these different privileges now that you're of age and
Yeah, that's
can
true.
do things and go places that you couldn't go and do before. So in that respect. Mm.
Yeah. I still couldn't go into clubs. I
Well, they
still
kept
couldn't be.
changing the age on you, so you were
Right, right.
the universe was acting in your best interest there.
They were acting in my best interest,
Yes.
absolutely. But like I miss that whole, like 18 to 22, where you go out to clubs and you do all that kind of because it just didn't exist anymore. So
Mm. Yeah.
and I was already doing all that other stuff except voting at 17. So
Yeah.
for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. But I think a lot of people at 18, like I remember when each of my kids turned 18, all of a sudden, like the whole attitude changed. And it was like, I don't have to listen to you anymore. I don't have to do anything you say anymore. And, so that I remember, but I had that well before 18.
Well, some of us grew up really fast and others,
Yeah.
had were able to take their sweet time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Aging is an interesting process, though. I mean, I
Mm.
remember going through like in just watching in retrospect, like how my attitudes changed as I aged and the way I thought about things changed as I
Yeah,
aged.
I don't know who made up the term golden years, but I'm not sure about that. You
Yeah.
know, there's nothing golden about this, really. You can't move like you used to, you know. You have all these restrictions. You shouldn't be eating this, you shouldn't be eating that. Your blood pressure is gonna, you keep your sugars low, make sure you exercise. You got all these things to do.
But shouldn't we be doing all those anyway?
Well, you
Like
should.
before we get to that age?
Well, I was doing them all. I
I
was
know you
working
were.
and managing all of that stuff, and
And really,
I
how old were you when you got your black belt?
61, 62,
That's
something like
pretty
that.
amazing,
I didn't start taekwondo until I was 57.
which is also pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was a need. I felt it was a need for some sort of self-defense. Uh,
Okay,
mm. And
interesting.
you really have to be ready for that. I did it because it was fun, and
Hmm.
because when I realized that I needed something, I was working downtown, and there was a carjacking, and I had been in an accident, and I broke my elbow, and my knee was torn up, so I wasn't really navigating quite well. And then there was the carjacking, and I thought, oh my God, if what are you going to do? You don't know a darn thing. What are you going to hit him with your brace?
Yeah.
That's not going to do anything. And I'm going to hurt myself in the process. So I found a Groupon and of course procrastinated. And 3 days before it expired, I called this place up and chose and I started whining, "Oh, and it's almost expired." He's like, just relax. He said, I'll honor that. So I went in for 3 private lessons, and I fell in love with the kicking, and it was just so fun to be able to do all of that. So that's why outside of that, I wanted to know, defend myself. But in retrospect, what that does is it creates a confidence inside of you. And uh, when people look at you, and criminals, they read other people
Oh
walking
yeah.
down the street to see who's the easy mark and who's not.
Yep.
So, and I often wondered if I was ever in a situation, because when you are startled, you think completely different. Your brain shuts down, you stop moving, you don't know what to do, you're just completely frozen.
Right.
And I often wondered if something ever happened to me, despite the fact that I have all this knowledge. Um, I wondered if I could pull that out of the bag at that time and defend myself. Um, I had to go in and talk to the grandmaster one time, and I said, when I started here, I didn't know a darn thing about Taekwondo, about martial arts, nothing. And he said, well, you know a whole lot about it now.
Yep. Right. Well,
Yeah,
there you go.
it was a ton of fun. And quite honestly, if I had the mechanisms to continue to do that, my back is a little bad, and I broke my I broke my foot in Taekwondo and my wrist one time. And so if I could do it, I certainly would be doing it because it's just so much fun. And the people you meet, and you're like a family. And I remember him saying a few times when I didn't show up, where you been? You part of the family. And I'm like, oh, good Lord, what do you mean I'm part of the family? This is serious stuff. Jeez.
It's like, wait, 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 family. Is that like mafia family or is that like,
Whose family is this anyway? Is it yours, mine? Do I
oh
bring
my
people
goodness.
here? Now what? Am I required to bring food when I go to the parties? What cake do you want? Holy cow.
Yeah, right. What kind of family is this?
Right. Gotta go to somewhere else for holidays now? Part of the family.
Well, it's nice to know, it's interesting how we create families though, isn't it?
And I have to tell you this other funny story about Taekwondo. So, I have a phobia of spiders, and
Mhm.
there are times when I can tolerate them, and other times I just get really fearful. And so we'd come back from up north, and we go about 5 hours north of here, and it's quite a lot of trees and nature and all kinds of stuff. Anyway, I'm in the garage. I'm getting ready to go to taekwondo, and I see something on my windshield, and I hit the windshield wiper. I'm thinking that it's gonna wipe it off, whatever, and it kind of moves, and I'm like, well, it must be stuck on there. So I pull it out of the driveway. I'm going down the highway, and I'm trying to get this off, and all of a sudden, I realize that it's not on the outside; it's on the inside.
Oh
And it was
boy.
a spider, and it was crawling across my windshield, and I'm
Oh yeah, yeah.
horrified. Now I'm going, about 70 miles an hour down the road, trying to keep an eye on this spider because I don't know what's going to happen to me, but it's probably not going to be good. If it gets anywhere close to me, we're going to have a problem. So I get pull in the parking lot, look at my watch, and now, by the way, I'm trying to kill it on the windshield, and it's not working. So while I was trying to use the windshield wipers, I realized that the spider had just kind of spread out, and it probably could see. It's got 8 eyes, so it can see, and it was ducking its head or something. It was the craziest damn thing. So it's walking across, and now I'm thinking it's getting closer to me. What am I going to do? Get into the parking lot, and now I'm trying to kill it. So I'm poking at it or whatever to get it somewhere. It climbed behind the plastic, and it managed to get in there. And every time I would stop poking at it, it would come out. And so I look at my watch, I'm like, you're going to be late getting on the floor. That's not going to be cool. So I decide that I'm just going to leave, and I go into practice. That was the night I broke my foot. I was so distracted over that whole thing.
Oh wow.
Walked out limping. I come back into the car, and I'm like, oh God, that's right. There's a spider in my car. The car parked next to me was one of my partners in taekwondo who's got 5 kids or so, and he's playing around with his kids and whatever, and he noticed that I apparently looked horrified. And he said, Bobby, are you okay? And I said, there's a spider in my car. And he said, well, do you want help? And I'm like, well, sure. So he comes over, and he's sitting in the car. Now, it's gonna do something horrible to me. I'm sure I'm gonna die over this. So I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
So he grabs a pen and wraps a thing around it, and he's poking at it, and it's not, and it's doing the same thing, out in, out in, out in, in this plastic. We're gonna be here all night. I'm never gonna get home. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to call the rescue squad. So eventually he said, well, do you have any hairspray? And I'm like, I don't have hairspray. Why would I have hairspray in here? You mean a spray? I found a spray bottle of thieves oil. And I said, this is all I have. It was just this little bottle. He started spraying at it. And all of a sudden, and he said, I think it's gone because it hadn't come out. The car smelled great, like cinnamon. It was just the greatest thing ever. And I looked at him, and I said, do you realize that both of us are sitting here? We are 2 black belts, and we're worried about a spider because that's going to kill us. We're black belts. What do you
Well,
think?
there are some spiders that can kill you. I'm just gonna say
Well, I get that. It was, not even the
most of
size
them
of that.
don't live here in
Right.
Wisconsin, but
Yeah.
there are spiders that can kill you.
Here we are. Yeah. Could have killed somebody, but not the spider.
Yeah.
There I am. He rescued me. It was the greatest thing ever. And all the while I'm driving home, I'm thinking, boy, the car really smells great. All this cinnamon. I'll bet you the cinnamon killed it because,
Probably.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was my rescues
That
with
was your rescue.
my friend who's the black belt. We're both scared to death of spiders. And if we ever get attacked, I hope there's not spiders there.
Right. Because it's a lot easier to defend against a person than a spider.
Right. 2, 3 people, in fact. One spider just, no, it's not going to work. We're going to hell in a handbasket right now.
I know with both of my kids at different times, we've had a similar scenario with bees in the car.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I love bees out there. Not in here with me.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I told you about the spider thing, and I had been bit by a couple of spiders, and that
Yeah.
wasn't good either. For whatever reason, I was not petrified, horrified, any of that. It was just one of those things.
Yeah.
But this little spider going across my windshield was going to be the death of me. And I was worried that I could have been in a tragic accident on the freeway. And I thought, oh my God, you better just get out of your head and go
Take care
work
of
out. Well,
this.
that was the night
Yeah.
that I got kicked, and then I broke my foot. But that's what
because
happens to you when you're not concentrating, Bobby.
yeah,
Geez, pay attention.
when you get distracted, that's what happens. Yep,
Right.
I get it. I get it. You know, so I'm the same way with most spiders, and basically any kind of bug just kind of creeps me out. You know, I'm not a big fan of bugs, which is probably why I don't garden either, because I'm not a fan of bugs. But I get that we need them, blah blah blah. I know there's going to be 1,000 comments about how we need bugs and how they're good for
I
the
know.
ecosystem. Sorry, yeah, I get that. I just don't want them touching me.
That they can they belong outside, anywhere,
Yes,
outside, not in my house. No.
and not on me. I'm not.
No, none of
No,
that.
don't want that, you know? So I mean, I get that. So I'm afraid of these little creepy crawlies, but I got absolutely no problem walking into an abandoned warehouse to face off on a ghost.
I know. I have another friend similar to you who just funny thing. Last week I went to see her and she had this thing on her elbow and she said, I was in Mexico and I got this. I was bit by about 14 bugs or whatever, and I just kind of went, oh, I said, were you in the sand? And she said, well, yeah, sure. I felt it, and I just said to her, in my mind's eye, I could feel something. I did not physically feel it, but in my mind's eye, I got the picture, and I just said, you need to go to the urgent care. She she also does what you do in ghost
Yeah,
busting and whatever.
yeah,
She was just horrified. But yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I don't get
I'll
it.
go up against spirits, whatever. I'm good. Keep the bugs away from me.
Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
know it sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? Like this little bitty creepy crawly thing just weirds me out, but
I get it. I'm a black belt. I was going to die that night over this spider that wasn't even as big as a dime.
right?
There, years ago, I had a horse. I had two of them, and I was going up and I was taking care of the barn for the people that owned it. My brother had just died. We were at the funeral, and I was really pretty exhausted. And so I go into the barn, and all of these things happen. That was the night I think the donkey got out and was running around, and I had to call my son to come up and help. And I'm like, stop chasing him around. We stopped chasing him. The donkey walked back into the fence. And I open up the barn door. There was a breeze, and a big spider web with a spider came and swooped right in. And that was another thing. No, no.
No, no,
Of all things, do we really have to continue this? I've had a horrid day. You can just go away. It's
right,
just leave
right.
me alone. I want to go home.
It is weird though, like how when we're having days like that, how just weird stuff happens,
Yeah, yeah.
you
And
know? Like on the way home from the hospital the night Logan died, we hit a deer. Like,
oh,
really?
yeah.
Seriously? I mean,
One
the
more
deer
thing.
wasn't even hurt. It like bounced off my car and ran off into the woods, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
just one of those the
Well,
timing was just weird, you know? And sometimes, I mean, is it something that we energetically draw weird stuff to ourselves when we're in that frame of mind?
I thought the same thing. Either that or the universe is trying to distract us. But
Yeah.
that very night that the donkey got out and I had to watch the barn and my brother died and all of this, I remember going over towards the fence and uh, one of the it was a metal fence and one of the poles had
Uh-huh.
broken off, and so I was going to lift it up and put it back on there because it could have gotten out. Well, I completely forgot that it was an electric fence,
Oh
and
no.
there I was,
And you can't
and I
let go of it.
and then the spider in my face. Talk about a distraction.
Yeah, that's definitely distracting.
I just, I, just-
Wow.
I remember saying to my son, "Stop chasing that donkey. I don't want to have to call her up and tell her donkey's dead because it would hit by a car because you chased it out on the road. I have enough going on here."
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. Wow. That's a lot. It is, you know, it's weird, I think, is our topic today because everything we've talked about is weird. Aging is
Yeah,
weird, spiders are weird, fears are weird.
Yours are really weird. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Being afraid of spiders. That's pretty weird. And I understand that uh the phobias and stuff. And there, like I said, sometimes I can tolerate them.
right.
Most things don't bother me. Snakes don't bother me, rodents don't bother me, bugs don't bother me, spiders. I don't know what that, and I don't like ticks either. Ticks, that's out.
Ticks, no.
I don't
Ticks
like bugs.
fall into the bug category for me. No, thank you.
Mm, I don't care about bugs. I took an entomology class up in River Edge Nature Center, and I learned all about it. Do you know that those little pretty dragonflies are nymphs and they live in the water, and when they are ready to they come out and they're born above the water. So,
I did not know that.
yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I do like dragonflies and I like butterflies.
They look quite weird, like a fleshy looking kind of leggy thing if you take a sieve and go into the dirt. We did that once in one of the classes my kids were in. That's how I ended up at River Edge learning all that stuff.
Wow.
Hmm.
That
Yeah,
is
it sort of makes you feel a whole lot better when you look at that thing and go, that's going to be a dragonfly. Just the same as a caterpillar. Some of the caterpillars are pretty cool, but other ones, if you're not careful, you'll get the itches and stuff.
yeah, definitely. It's weird too, like when I lived out west, there were a lot of different kinds of slugs, like garden slugs, but they come in so many colors and patterns.
Huh.
It's weird. I mean, I know you tend to think of them as like brown or gray,
Yeah.
but some of them are very colorful. Some of them have like leopard type patterns on them. Some of them are striped. Some of them have polka dots. It's weird, but they come in different colors and different. Yeah, I found
Uh,
that interesting. I had a roommate once who couldn't stand slugs, no matter how pretty the colors were.
yeah, I'm kind of like that about spiders too. I don't care what color it is. No,
Uh-huh.
nope, nope, nope.
Yeah, and the ones with the red, like hourglass on the back, definitely avoid
Yeah,
those.
not those. No, yeah, got to get rid of those.
Yeah,
The ones too, the black ones that have the two things and they have little dingles on the end of them, little balls.
yeah,
Not those either.
yeah,
But because I was bit, I was quite a student about all of that after. And all spiders are poisonous, and some are worse than others. And
yeah.
even though the spiders that I was bitten by, um, it was quite painful. It was very painful. And it will just tell you that in all the information. This is a very painful bite. You won't die from it, but
Yeah, I remember actually I was talking to you about it, I think a few years ago. It was before 2020, I remember that. But it was I had a spider bite on my leg and it was necrosis. I mean, like it was
sure.
literally eating my
Yeah.
skin. I had a hole in
Yes.
my leg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty intense. And I did
That's
not even see the spider that bit me. I only know that because they told me it was a spider bite at
yeah.
the emergency room.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, the venom in their fangs
Yeah,
are designed to go into the bug and dissolve their insides so they can eat
right.
them.
So that's what it does to us.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still have a scar from several years ago, but I was bit twice in the same spot. I don't do that again. I don't do that no more.
Uh-uh.
Whatever that was. 'Cause I was
No.
holding litter, and no,
Nope.
I don't get
Don't do
that
that
close.
anymore.
No, I
So
didn't
now that we've
feel it.
freaked out half the people who are going to tune into
Right.
talking
I
about
think we lost our,
spiders and
27,000 fans today. Not watching that show anymore. They talk about bugs and
yeah,
stuff.
but no, next time though, it'll be better.
It'll be very much better.
We won't be talking about bugs. Uh, but we will have your friend on. And so yeah, that'll be good.
We're going to talk about friendship next time.
Yes, friendship. Absolutely.
And
And
and that
speaking of
might just,
which, I'm
yeah.
very glad that you and I are friends.
Well, thank you. I am as well.
Yes,
We bail each other out periodically.
we do. Not jail though. Like neither one of us has gone to jail since we've known each other anyway. So
That doesn't mean we wouldn't, just that we haven't.
it's just that we haven't.
We
Yes.
haven't. Yes.
Wouldn't and haven't, two different things.
Yes. Right.
So All right. Well, I'm thinking that we should probably wrap it up here. And again, if we creeped you out with the spider talk, sorry.
Stay away from those spiders, you guys.
Yeah. And
That's
in
the best.
and anyway, despite the spider conversation and the bee conversation, hit the subscribe,
Yes,
hit that
please.
button, ring the bell, get notifications, start following us because I promise we have got some amazing people coming to join us in the coming months. So,
Let it and send us some comments too. That would be
yeah.
great.
Yeah, send us some
And
comments.
if you want to see something, someone, you want to talk about something, let us know. We're
Join our
happy.
Facebook group, Breakfast
See,
with Bobby Facebook group. Join the group, and we have a poll on there. What do you want to hear about?
right. See, and if you join and you tell us what you want to hear about, you don't have to hear about bugs anymore.
That's right. Oh my gosh, boy. We do
Yeah,
never, we warned y'all. We warned you
we
all
did.
on the first episode. We don't know what we're going to talk about. Whatever comes up is what we're going to talk about. So,
I certainly didn't think that today would have been the day to discuss my Taekwondo spider
no,
situation,
no.
but it
But it
seemed to
is
work
still
out.
pretty cool that you have a black belt
Well, yeah, and it didn't do me a damn bit of good when I was that spider.
against the spider. Yeah.
God.
That spider might have been a black belt too. You never know.
He was doing a good job, bobbing and weaving, staying out of my reach. Oh
Oh
my
my gosh.
God.
All right. Take it easy, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Take care. Thanks for tuning in. Until next week.